Welcome. We are here to unbox the Sony A7R-IV. This is the newest of the Alpha R series, and it's thought to be one of the best of the hybrid shooters out there. That's right, it has both a battery and a gas engine. Wait, that's not what? I'm being told that in this case, hybrid is referring to the camera's ability to be good at both still photography and shooting video. Now, this is not the Alpha S3, which is Sony's flagship for video shooting on a mirrorless camera. That camera is designed for video and video production, so it will have features that the A7R-IV will not have. That also means that this camera has features that it will excel in different areas that the A7S III won't be able to do quite as well. The A7R-IV is meant for someone that demands an excellent photography platform, but can also do better than average video production with up to 4K 30, as long as you're okay with 8-bit color. So if you're looking for a great camera for photography, video content, and working in between as a stream cam, this camera might be for you. In fact, it's what I'm shooting this content on right now. So let's take a look at the box, look at some of the features, and get this camera out of the package. What we have here today is the Sony A7R-IV. This is a full frame 35mm type camera. It uses the E mount for the lenses, which is the mount type for the mirrorless Sony cameras. It's got 4D focus, which is just autofocus over time on a moving subject. This, of course, is the fun side of the box with all the bullet points. It is a 61 megapixel camera compared to the A7 II, which is a 24.2, and the A7S III, which is 12.1. It's got decent ISO and 10 frames per second. Autofocus is phase detection with 576 points all the way across the frame, unlike your DSLR mirrored cameras, which is typically centered in the group. It's got real-time eye autofocus, also animal eye focus. This is both during shooting and during shooting stills and shooting videos. You've got your real-time tracking, also related with the real-time autofocus. Some silent shooting. It's got 5-axis steady shot inside the camera, so you don't necessarily need vibration reduction or, for Sony, the optical steady shot lenses, but they may be able to help add stability as well. Dual shot, just basically 2 cards in it for storage. Touch focus on the back of the screen, so you can touch and move around the focus. Hybrid log gamma, which is also usually stored in the XAVC S codec. This is how HDR and SDR data is stored. We got USB-C. Now this is nice to see because it's super speed USB. Very good to see this. We got the Exmor-R backlit image sensor, which moved the wiring behind the photodiodes, and the Bion-Z X image processor with raw noise reduction. For connectivity, it's got NFC, Bluetooth, and where is it? There we go. Wi-Fi on here, as well as using AC for Wi-Fi 6. Then there's the HDMI out, which is useful for external recording or streaming. For shooting video, we've got the 4K HDR. Again, it uses the XVAC-S codec for storage. Then, of course, they list some of the optional extras that you can purchase from Sony that are obviously not in this box. So let's find out what's in this box. No seal. It just comes that way. I like how they have these. Here's the instruction manuals with the camera QR code. Then the instructions in French. Then there's the other paperwork for registering your product, reference guide, etc. Your USB cable. Again, this is USB-C, excellent to have. Looks like it's a good length as well. This is the cord strain reduction cable clip for the HDMI and USB-C cables when they're attached for long periods of time to the side of your camera. Got a clip right here for retaining the cables. It just plugs in right into the side of your camera. We got the camera, we've got our strap, and we've got some accessories over here. Here's our camera strap, A7R-IV, Sony. I'll put that over here. Got some accessories right here. This is your separate external battery charger. Standard plug connection there. Slide your battery in and good to charge. Got your cord for it. No battery in this side. Here's our battery hiding down there. We set it in there and it locks right in. And of course, here we have the camera.
Ooh.
It is everything out of there. Okay. A7R-IV. Got the front dial. Foldable touchscreen. Does not fold out to the side or the top, so not really a vlogging camera. That's your NFC for linking it to your phone. Just tap your phone there after loading up the app. Got dual slots, important on this one as they're both the same speed as opposed to the previous one where one of them was not fast enough for video. Got the battery compartment.
Oh God, yes.
Here we have the mic and headphone jacks, HDMI micro, USB-C, and the micro USB terminal. Here's that retainer clip again. See, there's the hole it screws into. So the cable comes out here, goes through here. Cap allows you to put the cable in and, keeps the cable taut. Here, let me grab that USB cable. Once secured, it would bend down like this. Technically. And keep the strain off the port in the camera. So there we have it, the Sony A7R-IV. For a closer look, we got the back with the selection dial. Here's the top with the exposure compensation dial. It's a push to lock on or off. Then the program dial, which is push in order to unlock it. And the back setting dial and the front setting dial. Here's the front of the camera with the lens release button. Here's a close-up of the ports on the side. Also, here's the flash connection port. Took me a second to get it open. And here are the dual SD ports again. And the bottom with the battery port. So what are my impressions about this? Well, this camera is doing fantastic. It's fairly easy to get started on and has a lot of depth to it. In fact, there's functions in here that I don't even know what they do yet. So obviously it's doing well as a streaming camera. That's what I'm using right now. For comparison, here's my Logitech. As you can see, the white balance and the brightness are fairly similar, but the clarity that we get out of the Sony A7R is just amazing comparatively. So what I'm using on this Sony camera is a fairly basic lens. It's the Sony 16 to 50 millimeter lens with 3.5 to 5.6 aperture. Even with this basic lens though, it's really good at focusing on a subject's face, whether using just the facial recognition or actually using the eye autofocus. As you can see, it focuses very quickly and is able to track even as I'm moving around. Now, you don't pick up a camera like this for streaming. That's its side job. This is a hybrid camera, and it's going to be your main workhorse for doing very detailed photography with that 61 megapixel sensor and really decent videography with, granted, 8-bit color, but it will still do 4K HDR video. Now, you still have a choice to make. If you're going to primarily use a camera like this for videography and not as much photography, then you might want to look at the Sony A7S series. Both the two, which you can pick up somewhat reasonably used at the price point these cameras are at, or the brand new flagship of the Sony A7S-III. Now, what makes those cameras different than the A7R that I'm shooting on right now is the fact that they have a smaller sensor, 12.1 megapixel, still does great on photography, but it's smaller and faster, smaller megapixel, but same size. So the actual pixels are larger. They let in more light. And because they let in more light, it allows you to shoot in low light so much better. And on top of that, it is able to do 10-bit color versus the 8-bit color. So not only are you doing 4K HDR at 30 frames per second, but you get 10-bit color and you get a larger gamut to be able to work with. So it all comes down into what your workflow is going to be. If you're going to focus on photography and videography, or if it's primarily videography. And sometimes it comes in your budget. All of these cameras, you can find the slightly older versions for used with, again, more reasonable costs. Regardless of what you choose, I hope this video has helped educate you on some of the features of this camera and some ideas what you might use it or some of its siblings for. I'd really appreciate it if you liked this video, if you liked it. Comment on any comments, and if you got questions, I'll watch the comments for that, try to answer them where I can. Please subscribe to the channel, that really helps a lot. And later on down the road, I'm hoping to put up an additional video of how this camera's been working out, and maybe even some of the projects that I've used it for. Until then, thanks very much for watching. This is Phoenix Nova, and I'll catch you next time.